All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson. So my buddy Drake Riggs over at WMMAnews.com, and he writes for a bunch of other sites, made up a list of the 20 greatest women's MMA fights of all time. And I thought it'd be a good subject to go over. Now, this is not my opinion, these are his opinions. And he'll even tell you that some of these are easily interchangeable with others. But I just want to go over this list. I think it's a pretty darn good one myself. You can go check it out at mymmanews.com. Drake does a lot of freelance work for different websites and had his own podcast for a little while. Anyway, let's get down to the list from 20 all the way to number 1. So first up, number 20 was Kat Zingano versus Amanda Nunes from UFC 178. Big comeback story in this fight. Kat Zingano was getting the crap beat out of her in the first round, and then typical for Amanda Nunes at that time, she kind of gassed out, and Kat Zingano came back to win the fight. But it's one of those stories like, yeah, she won the fight, but she got the crap beat out of her so bad, she kind of lost in a way. But it was a darn good fight and darn good comeback. Next up at 19, Nico Montano versus Roxanne Modafferi. Ultimate Fighter 26 finale. You know what? I was surprised by this, but got to give Drake credit for this one because this was a good fight. And the storyline behind it, Roxanne stepping in 24 hours notice because Sajara Eubanks missed weight and came in and they put on a heck of a fight together. Plus, it was for the inaugural women's UFC flyweight title. So, good inclusion there. Next up, number 18, Holly Holm versus Miesha Tate, UFC 196. This is a good fight, too. It's kind of boring in pieces. Like, Holm was ahead in rounds 1, 3, and 4. Tate got a 10-8 in round 2. And then Miesha Tate was down, probably, headed into the final round. Came back, got the takedown, rear naked choke. Awesome finish to that fight. Number 17, Alexa Grasso versus Mizuki Inoue at Invicta FC 11. This was a great fight. If you haven't seen this yet, you got to go on UFC Fight Pass and check this fight out. It just had a little of everything. It's number 16, Lisa Verzosa versus Yulia Stolyarenko in Invicta Phoenix Series 3. It's just a couple weeks ago. Go on Fight Pass and check it out. Probably one of the bloodiest fights in Invicta FC history. By the end of the fight, both of the fighters were bloody, covered in blood. The canvas, which had stayed clean throughout every other fight that night, by the end of the night, that canvas was covered in blood. It was just so bloody, and it was such a back-and-forth battle. Great fight. Number 15, Miesha Tate versus Ronda Rousey 1. I believe this was the moment that Ronda Rousey got first, touch championship gold. Got a nice armbar. Excuse me. Nice armbar on Miesha Tate. History-making fight. And it was the beginning of a great rivalry in the sport. So, definitely want to check out. That was at Strikeforce, Tate versus Rousey. Number 14, Miesha Tate versus Sarah McMahon, UFC 183. I really don't remember that much about this fight. But, well, I'll have to check this one out later because this is one I don't honestly remember that much. And it's funny because he even says, all right here, Tate versus Sarah McMahon was the most forgotten great fight of Tate's career overall. So, yeah, I'd have to say that. And next up, 13, Miesha Tate versus Kat Zingano, the Ultimate Fighter 17 finale. Again, another great comeback for Kat Zingano. Got up late in, I think, the third round. Landed a big knee to Miesha Tate, getting the win. Just one of those. It was one of those fights where basically Kat Zingano Homer Simpsoned her way to the win. Let herself basically get beat up till her opponent ran out of gas and then came back for the win. Number 12, Rose Namajunas versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk 2 at UFC 223. Another darn good fight. This was like back and forth battle here. It was 2-2 going into the 5th, and a lot of people thought, well, there's no way Rose is going to come back. She just lost the last 2 going into the 5th round, and she doesn't, like, Rose up until this point did not show a history of being able to come back from adversity, but she did. So, and it was just just one of those strawweight classics. Number 11, Irene Aldana versus Lucia Pudilova at UFC 228. First fight of the night, and it won fight of the night. That doesn't happen very often. I mean, these two just went at it with each other. Aldana kept trying to go for her, her signature combinations. And after a while, she's just like, you know what? This girl not going to let me get my combos off, so I'm just going to brawl with her. And just a classic fight. It was definitely worthy of the fight of the night honors that it received. Now we're going into number 10. Caitlin Young versus Leslie Smith 1, Invicta FC 1. This is just one of those back and forth battles that you have to see to believe how great it was. And it ended in a draw, which just tells you how close it was. I mean, action was non-stop. They were just throwing and landing at will. They said, defense be damned. We're going out here to put on an entertaining scrap. And these ladies did. Number 9, Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Claudia Gadelha 2, the Ultimate Fighter 23 finale. You know what? These two fighters already had the rivalry going from the first fight. And then with them hosting the Ultimate Fighter, all the jawing back and forth. Big storyline going into this. They come out. Claudia drops Joanna with the first jab of the night. And from there, Joanna had to basically fight off takedowns for the first 2 rounds. 3rd round, she started coming back, and then she just took over from there. Just a great fight. Amazing fight to watch. It was one of those, like, it was so good that I haven't rewatched it since then because I can just remember so many parts of the fight because it was that good without even having to rewatch it. Number 8, Miesha Tate versus Julie Kedzie. Strikeforce Rousey versus Kaufman. This is one of those, another Miesha Tate comeback story. Miesha Tate ate a hard high kick in this one. Survived somehow. Like, I thought she got Caitlin Young again. Like what happened at the hook and shoot tournament. I remember watching this live and I'm thinking, oh shit. She just got Caitlin Young again, didn't she? But she survived. Kedzie pursued the finish. And Tate just came back and got a desperation armbar. Amazing comeback performance there by Miesha Tate. Number 7, Livia Renata Souza versus Angela Hill, Invicta FC 19. This fight was, man, this fight I thought was the first fight where Angela Hill truly showed the kind of potential she has as a fighter. Everyone had really dismissed her when she got cut by the UFC. She went to Invicta, got a couple wins, got this title fight, and a lot of people were thinking, man, can she actually take it against Souza? And yeah, she did. I mean, she came back and she showed that she can stop takedowns. Everyone knew she could strike on her feet. She showed her bit of a ground game. It was a really good back and forth battle here. Number 6, Ayaka Hamasaki versus Sahi Ham, number 3 at Ryzen 20. I've talked about this fight so many times. I'm just happy that it was on this list. Personally, I might have put it a little bit higher, but it's here, and that's really all that needs to be said. Number 5, Angela Lee versus Seong Jin-nan, number 2 at 1 Century, Part 1. The rematch from earlier in last year, another great, back and forth battle. It came down to the 5th and final round. Angela Lee got vengeance via a last-minute submission. There's even a little bit of controversy thrown in because the whole suplex and was it legal, wasn't it legal thing going on. Just a great rematch. Number 4, Seong Jin-nan versus Angela Lee 1 at 1 A New Era. The first fight. This fight had everything going on in it too. Back and forth battle, battles on the feet, battles on the ground. Seong surviving, an armbar for like a good bit of round number 4, surviving it to the bell. Then you had Lee coming out looking desperate in the 5th. Seong, I think she switched her stance, was pretty neat. And then Seong getting the TKO finish coming from body shots. Just, I love this fight. Number 3, Mai Yamaguchi versus Angela Lee, number 1 at 1 Ascent to Power. This is definitely one of my top 5 personally. This fight was just amazing. Everyone was wondering, going into this fight, everyone thought Angela Lee had kind of been getting fed, easy layups. Mai Yamaguchi, I think, was a 20-fight veteran by this point. And it was just an awesome fight. Yamaguchi showed that, that her veteran savvy, dropped Lee in, I think, the 3rd or 4th round. But Lee showed that she is definitely a force to be reckoned with at 115 pounds. Number 2, Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk, UFC 248. Just simply one of the best women's fights ever, period. I mean, so much was at stake. It was high level, it was back and forth, it was non-stop action. This fight has literally everything going for it. I mean, just a high-level display of skill, or the high-level skill on display, the striking, just everything. This fight has everything. Which brings us to number 1. Jessica Penney versus Michelle Waterson, Invicta FC 5. This is a great fight. I mean, I don't know if I'd have this as number 1 personally, although it is definitely one of my favorite fights ever. Just a back and forth battle. I think Penny won the first. Waterson won the second. Penny came back, got the third. Waterson was down in the 4th and got this come from behind armbar that just seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, Waterson had survived her own scary armbar from Penny in the 3rd round. And it seemed like there was no way she was going to survive, but she gutted it out. And then she came back. She pulled that armbar, it seems like, out of nowhere. And it was amazing watching Penny tap like that. It was just an awesome fight. A great example of why the atom weights are probably my favorite division in the women's divisions. Just an awesome fight. It's on Fight Pass. Go watch it. It might be on YouTube, but I'm not sure. Just definitely go watch that fight. All right, so that's the top 20 according to Drake Riggs. I wanted to talk about each fight on this one because I think the article deserves an accompanying video, so I decided to make my own. And it's inspired me to make up, I'm not going to do top 20, I will do a top 10 probably sometime later this week. So I'll try to put that out there. Anyway, go check the article out. It's mymmanews.com. Go check it out. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Of course, likes always appreciated. And hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications. Be a lot cooler if you did. And we'll see you next time.